Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another pregame preview video here brought to you by the Jackals YouTube channel. I am your host and president, Daryl Keith Hendon, aka the Fairweather Rugby Fan. And we have got the lineups. They have been announced. Sam Harris announced his earlier today, and we just got ours a few moments ago here for the Dallas Jackals. First off, big announcement. Any announcements that we always go through. Rick usually does these, but I got to do them since Rick's not here. We will be live at the Londoner Pub in Addison tomorrow afternoon. I will be there. Me and my girlfriend will be hosting along. We've been having some really good turnouts, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's just a good environment. We get our own little section of the restaurant. We got a TV, there's drinks, there's food, and it's just a good time, despite the result on the pitch sometimes. We've been just having a good time, so I really appreciate the support, people coming out to that. It's been really, really fun having everybody out to those. And once again, we have been trying to get a secondary location on the western side of the Metroplex. We've had a lot of people bringing up issues with that. We have gotten with the Jackals management, front office. They're supposed to be pulling the strings on that. We just have yet to hear anything back on that one. So once that gets in the works, we'll announce a secondary location for the watch party for those people that live on that side of the Metroplex. So, as I always do at the beginning of these videos, I always start out with the weather report. Oof. Rick Collins will be there in attendance, and it is going to be a windy -3 degrees Celsius or 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew. It's going to be cold, cold, cold. History will be made this weekend. Neither club has recorded a win in history, this being the Chicago Hounds' first year in the league. They are 0-3. We don't even need to talk about our record at this point. 0-16 last year, 0-4 on the season so far. Their 3 losses have come at the hands of Old Glory DC. They lost 42-27. They lost a nail biter against Utah 14-10, and then another nail biter against Toronto by a single point, 27-26. That was the last weekend's game for them. They are coached by former Austin Gilgronis head coach Sam Harris, the Australian rugby league player, but born in New Zealand. He doesn't even sound Australian. He sounds like a Kiwi. I know a lot of you guys can't tell the difference, but trust me, if you've been around him, you'll tell the difference real quick. We've got a pretty decent lineup here. Obviously, some of these names are going to sound familiar to a lot of you guys from last year, and it's kind of an all-star team of the LA and Austin franchises kind of sandwiched together here. So we'll go ahead and start off the front row. We've got Scottish U20s veteran George Thornton. We've got Canadian international Lindsay Stevens and former Melbourne Rebel Charlie Abel on the front row. From the slums of Shaolin, Staten Island, New York, if any of you guys aren't familiar with that, we've got former Jackal Mike Matarazzo at number 4 lock, and then Luke White. Those are the locks. The back row will consist of the vice captain, Luke Beecham, former Waratah, McLean Jones, and Cape Town born but Lindenwood grad USA qualified Michael DeWall will be the number 8 spot. Michael Baska, USA Eagle, will be the scrum half with another USA Eagle, Luke Carty, at first 5/8 or fly half. The wings for this game are going to be Argentinian-born Julian Dominguez and Irish-born Mark O'Keefe. The centers will consist of Billy Meeks, a former Rebel and Western Force player down there in Australia, and the captain, Bryce Campbell, with 40 U.S. caps to his name. And rounding it all out, another USA-born player in Chris Mattina. It is a 5-3 split coming off the bench for the Chicago Hounds, with front row replacements of Mason Kalk, former Dallas Jackal Timmy Olwain, and Paddy Ryan, a USA Eagle. The other forward replacements will be Duke Krishnan. He is a Malaysian-born player who spent most of his career playing in Japan. Dakota Worth, Sydney Shoup, Caleb Strum, and USA Eagle SA-born JP Eloff will round it out. Not many changes to the Jackal side from last weekend. We'll go ahead and start off with the all Argentinian front row. Nicholas Revolpet, Thomas Baravel finally makes his debut here for the Dallas Jackals, and Juan Pablo Saiz, the workhorse. Sam Gola, Lucas Burr have been the go-to at the lock position, and they have been very, very good at that. Geronimo Gomez Vara will get the captaincy this week, and rejoining him on the other side of the flanker is El Bigote himself, Conrad Aurora. And anchoring it, as always, is Adrian Boyson, the Namibian international. Nazareno Valentini will get the start again at scrum half and first 5/8 from the Western Cape. Sir Lowry's pass, one Mr. Adrian Carlsa will be getting the first 5/8 fly half start. No changes to the wings from last week. James Viafale, the American Samoan-born player, and speedy Eric Naposki will be the other wing. JP Aguirre and Thomas Milanos will definitely have their hands full at center, and Marcos Moroni once again will be starting at fullback. A interesting split off the bench here. We've got a 5-3 split as well. We've got Canadian internationals Liam Murray and Kyle Steeves, along with Connor Robinson, will be the front row replacements. Carson Shoemaker, once again, coming off the bench, hopefully not too early like he did last time. Another player who we have absolutely no idea who this person is. It just says Nelson. Anybody out there that knows who it is, I've reached out. We've heard nothing back as of the recording of this video. So we have no idea who he is. And then the last three replacements are going to be Danny Christensen, Campbell Johnstone, first scorer in Dallas Jackals history. And once again, the weapon is out. I mean, Chicago is a violent place too. You've got to have the weapon out there, and that would be Aaron Gray. I remember kind of before the season, there was a little bit of discussion about Aaron Gray, like, is he going to get playing time? And I knew when it came to these type of games, he was definitely going to get dressed. It's cold. And Aaron went to college in Pennsylvania. Aaron can handle the cold. I think he can handle the cold. We already know Adrian Carlsa, his boot, as far as kicking for conversions, no good when it's cold. We don't have Alejandro Torres. We saw, I believe it was Moroni or was it Milanos last week, kick and get nowhere even close to scoring. So I have a bit of a question there as far as who's going to be doing the kicking for the game. Obviously, neither team has won a game. I feel like as of recent results, obviously the odds are a bit more in Chicago's favor if you look at those score lines. But I think all bets are off. I think a lot of us saw this roster for Chicago at the beginning of the season and thought, okay, yeah, they're going to come in here and walk through this competition because it's basically an all-star team. And it hasn't been quite as easy as you think. Granted, the league has obviously made them the darlings of the league. They just got awarded the MLR championships will be held there at their stadium this season. And it always seems that these newer teams are always the darlings of the league. It's my personal belief that we didn't get such treatment last year. We were kind of just cast off to the side and said, oh, well, good luck. An interesting statistic here, and you'll hear it brought up, especially for you guys that are newer rugby fans, you'll hear the word caps. And caps usually denotes how many times you've been dressed and played for your national team. Now, Chicago is one of the lower cap teams in the league. They have 64 caps, 40 of them coming from their captain, Bryce Campbell. And I say they're one of the lower teams in the league. The lowest team is us. We have a grand total of 15 caps. 7 of them are from Adrian Boyson. Now, if 64 caps is the low end, we are way, way, way below that. And I used to not think it really made a difference in this league, and I'm starting to begin to notice in the last couple of weeks it does, because those are top-end players. Those are guys that are good enough to play for their, national team. Now, obviously, somebody like Ma'anonu, he hasn't had a cap for the All Blacks since 2015. He had a lot of them, but he's also 40 years old. But seeing these USA Eagles and seeing a team that had 7 of them, seeing a team that had 5 of them, seeing a team that had 6 of them, and we don't have a single one. If we try to get into the game that we tried to do last week, which was kicking the ball away, these guys are going to beat the brakes off of us. With what they have, they're going to beat the brakes off of us. Now, if we get out and we try to run the ball, and we try to play a run the ball game, we can stay in this. We can defensively We have probably one of the strongest front rows in the entire league with this starting three right here. This is a top level front row. Like, this would be one of the arguably best front rows in the league. With these three gentlemen, with Zeiss, Revel Pitt, and Thomas Baravel. Unfortunately, obviously, Dewey Kutsia not dressed this week. Good for him. Get a little break, dude. He had stitches from the first home game, second home game, first home game. So, if we want to get into a kicking game, we're going to get beat. There's no question. We're not going to be able to outrun these guys like that. We're not going to. And it got to where, like, early in the season, you saw Conrad Aurora chasing down a lot of those kicks because we'd go for the high ball. We don't seem to do that anymore. And if we want to get into a kicking game, that's what we've got to do. And if we're not going to do that, we don't have a chance. We don't have a chance against these guys. They will beat us. I'd like us to not get beaten by these guys. I'd like our first win to come against a team still looking for their first win. It would just be nice to say that. But we're going to have to shore up a lot of things. We're not going to beat these guys by kicking the ball away. We're just not. It's not going to happen. Luke Carty, and he can kick. He is a solid boot, and he can kick. Even when they bring in JPL off in relief, their bench is solid. Our bench is good too, outside of the guy we know nothing about. But if we get into a trench warfare with these guys, we can beat them. If it comes down to trench warfare, if it comes down to us ramming the ball in, we will beat these guys. Hands down, no question. We will beat them with ease. If we start kicking the ball away, we're done. We don't stand a chance. We're not going to be able to kick the ball away, and especially in this league. This is not a kick-happy league. You just don't see it. And teams are starting to notice that's what we do every time, and they are making adjustments, and it's why we're not winning games. The point about rugby is good coaches can get you wins, can kind of pull you out of slumps. Great coaches are the ones that can pull you out of a 20-game slump. And if, we want to establish ourselves as not being the kick-around team in the league anymore, it's going to have to start with changing our game plan when it's not working, because our game plan has not worked as of thus far this year. You look at higher end teams like Houston. Houston sticks to their game plan because it wins. We need to kind of change things. We're not going to win this game by getting into a kicking battle with these guys because they will bury us. We will not be able to keep up. But with that being said, hopefully we come away with the victory this weekend. It's it's always the hope every weekend, and I hope I see everyone out at the Londoner. It's really great. I'll have the webcam set up so everybody can get on YouTube and just kind of see what we're doing. Chit chat with people if anybody wants to see what's going on. But until this has been another Jackal Den YouTube video made by the fans for the fans.